Airport, operating at the plant where Henry Ford built one 4-engine B-24 airplane out. It took Rosie to do that. Allison, thank you so much for all that you do. Remember, the ladies made that work. Okay, now, how many airplanes did they build? Well, 300,000. Typical of this group of aircraft on your screen taking off in front of us was an advanced trainer aircraft, the second highest in the United States of America. Second only, going back to the B-24 4-engine bomber, built by Henry Ford. Around 19,000. If you have another number, we say you are right. Somewhere a little less than that was that advanced trainer that has 3 names. The AT-6 Texas, because they were manufactured in Dallas, Texas. Advanced trainer. And then the SNJ, used by the Navy and Marine Corps. Same airplane, different name. And then also the Commonwealth countries, the UK, Canada, New Zealand, Australia, they called it the Harvard. From December 7th, 1941, look to the right as 2 B-25s coming in representing the 16 airplanes and 80 men that took off from the very short deck of the USS Hornet. They had to take off sooner than they expected, fly longer because they had been spotted by a fishing boat which radioed back to the mainland. The decision was to go. Some knew that they would run out of gas. But everybody went. Now, it's very appropriate that this North American twin-engine bomber, medium-range bomber with the bomb bay doors open, is representing the two little freighters. And Staff Sergeant David Thatcher is still alive. They're at aviation gatherings. They speak a lot about warriors. They out between the runways. I'm sorry, it's a safety thing, folks. Please no smoking in the spectator area. And that's very serious, if you will. All right, this airplane coming in from your right. B-25, watch for the bomb bay doors to open. In the strafing pass, and Gordon Webb of Tora Tora Pyro Team will be lighting off some of the pyro out in midfield. Bomb bay doors open. Patrol bomber, and then the J stood for the contractor, which was the predecessor of North American aviation. These airplanes faster in a dive at the beginning of the war than many of our fastest fighters. That's how far behind we were. Twin tail, North American built, they built just about 10,000 of these. Some were shipped to our gallery. Away from home, these young girls and young ladies for the first time, homesick, but doing what they could for the defense of the nation. On Sundays, their only day off, they would write letters. If the weather was warm, they would go out on picnics just to get out of the factory. And think about home. They boarded up with families in and around the factory. The little kids in the family considered them to be their neighbors. time of the war, and their loved ones could come home. On the Doolittle raid, some of the airplanes simply ran out of fuel and crash landed. Concerning the twin-engine bombers that are coming in, there is a movie that is worthy of your viewing about the Doolittle raid. It's called 30 Seconds Over Tokyo. It was based on a book of the same name. The movie came out in 1943 or early in 44. And but you will see this one has a single tail rather than a double tail. It was used by the Navy as a patrol bomber. And the Navy chose to stretch the fuselage several feet and to add a flight engineer station. But this is one of the, as the Red Stars pass directly overhead with the smoke trail. Look straight up. Navy version with a single tail that went on to fight wildfires from the air. A company called August Power. Belly of the Harpoon, the twin-engine airplane coming in from our right, and the one that's on the screen. You can see it slopes down quite a bit. Originally designed to be an airliner, since we didn't have the unit. However, the illusions, the records were never found. The activity the airplane had in the illusion, it was only the military's logbooks, their personal logbooks that documented what they did day in and day out. Okay, overhead. T6, North American T6 Advanced Trainer. We learned something in World War I, that training was the key in the dogfight arena. So we built, in fact, and look over behind you now from your left hand, we learned that training would be the key. By the end of the war, before a young man got into the dogfight arena, he in fact would have about 168 hours of very intense training. He would start by first learning how to fly. As the 4-engine single-tail airplane comes out in front of most of you, that was actually Tanker 121 when it fought one of the most dangerous and going to your right, turning the corner is the Lockheed Harpoon. Twin tail, very common to the designs that Clarence Kelly Johnson liked and Lockheed. It was stretched to accommodate more passengers as a civilian aircraft, but it just never did match up. Directly overhead, the V formation, circling around right over the top of where we're standing. And now, VP, the only V-29 is on the takeoff roll from low to your right to low to your left. There is no other V-29 flying in the world today. Enola Gay. Colonel Paul Tibbets was the pilot of the Enola Gay. You saw how the war started with the attack on Pearl Harbor. You saw the retaliation.